Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Sarah, and today I wanted to share with you some grocery shopping tips to try to be more budget friendly, to just make smart choices when you're picking out items at the grocery store, to make sure you're getting the most food for your money and not sacrificing quality or taste or anything like that. So I have 8 tips for you today. So jumping right into it, the biggest tip that I feel like helps me a ton, I've kind of gotten better at this over the last few months, and that is using what you already have in your fridge, in your pantry. So before I ever go grocery shopping, I always clean out my fridge and get rid of things that are not usable or have gone bad. And then I'm left with items that I can use for future dinners or snacks or lunches for me, my son, my husband. And then I do the same thing in the pantry. So then I can kind of take a mental list of what I have as options for dinners and for lunches, and I can create our list for the week based off of that. So I might plan on that night or the next night using up some chicken that's about to go bad. I know I have rice and I have pasta, so I can always use those as side dishes. So when I'm writing out my dinners, I know I only need a few things for this dinner, one thing for that dinner, nothing for this dinner, we're good to go. And you can create a list that is accurate and just really efficient in using up everything that you possibly could. So my second tip is just that, go in with a plan. So have your list, know what kind of snacks you're gonna need, what kind of breakfast, lunch, dinner items you need. When you have that list of what you already have and what you're gonna eat for dinner and for lunches, you can then create just a really great plan for these are the few things that I need to complete the meals that we want to have for that week. And my third tip kind of goes along with tip number 2. It's kind of a caveat. So you want to go in with a plan and you want to have just this great list of all the things you need and everything's organized and we know exactly what we're going to eat for all our meals. That's great, but you need to have a little bit of flexibility when you get to the grocery store. And maybe that's you look online at their ads or on their app and see what's on sale or what coupons there are, but have a little bit of flexibility each week. And for me, I don't have a lot of time to go online and kind of check out what things are on sale. I usually just go into the store and kind of check out the sales there, whatever your personal preference is. But having a little bit of flexibility with your dinners or your lunches when you go into the store helps you so that you can pick the items that are on sale or there's just really great coupons for, great deals on. So for example, if I'm going to do, let's say, hamburger and fries as one of my dinner, I already have potatoes, I already have hamburger buns, whatever it is. I just need to buy a meat and I need to buy some produce to go on the burgers. So when I go into the store, I have a little bit of flexibility in terms of what I get as my meat. So I could get a turkey burger, a chicken burger, a beef burger, and it could be the just raw like pound of beef, or it could be the pre-made patties. Whatever you see that catches your eye, that's a really great deal, that sounds great. But when you go into the store, it's nice to have that flexibility, because if you had in your mind, I'm definitely buying beef burgers, but the chicken burgers are on a really great sale and you don't mind eating chicken, you could always just grab those instead. So I like to have a little bit of flexibility, and usually that goes for like produce and meat. Have that flexibility to pick whatever is on sale. A lot of times that's also what's going to be in season. So if you're picking a fruit or a vegetable, whatever is on sale is usually going to be fresh, and that's the best time of year to buy it anyway. So having that flexibility, although you do want to have a plan, it just allows you to take advantage of those great sales. Tip number 4 is avoid packaged items. And I know a lot of people know this, but I just feel like it's really important to reiterate, whether that's cut fruit or cut vegetables or bagged salads, whatever it may be, just know that if you buy something that's pre-packaged, pre-cut up, if it's more convenient for you, it's more expensive. So if you're gonna get some watermelon, if you can cut it yourself, you're gonna save a lot of money. Although when I go into the produce section, I see that cut watermelon, it catches my eye, it sounds really good, it looks really good. You can always look at that and say, that sounds awesome today, and then go buy a full watermelon because you save so much money. That goes for the cut broccoli, the even cut lettuce. You could buy a head of lettuce and that's going to be a lot cheaper for what you're going to get. So just keep that in mind. This mostly applies to the produce section, but also for meat. If you're buying anything that's pre-prepped for you, pre-seasoned, pre-cut, whatever it is, it's generally more expensive. So there's always going to be times in our life where we need that convenience, and sometimes I'll go and I'll buy a cut up container of onions because I just sometimes don't have it in me to cut an onion that day because they are horrible on my eyes. But every once in a while that might make sense, or there's a good deal on the cut item. Every once in a while you can find the little clearance stickers on the cut items, and so that might make it worth it to you. In general, if you have the time, you're always going to save a ton of money if you just buy the full item, you prep it, and you cut it yourself. Tip number 5 is pay attention to the price per pound or the price per ounce, because a lot of times we think bigger packs are going to be a better deal. Generally, that is true. So don't disregard that idea. If you're buying potatoes, you generally are going to get a better deal on a 10-pound potato than just buying a couple individual potatoes. But for some situations, specifically I see it a lot in berries and grapes, if the smaller pack is on sale, they won't necessarily price parity the larger pack. And that means like make it equivalent for the price per pound or per ounce. They don't necessarily do that. And sometimes they'll even have this big beautiful display with that 1 pound strawberry or 2 pound grape, and it says this really great sale price, 88 cents a pound. But then below it, they're gonna have their 3 pound or their 5 pound grape, and it's not gonna be on sale, and it's not gonna be the same price per pound. And so if you just pick up that bigger pack thinking grapes are on sale, I'll buy the biggest pack they have because I want a lot of grapes, you're actually spending a ton more money than if you would have just grabbed 3 bags of the smaller bags, because those are on sale and those are way cheaper per pound. So I don't know if that necessarily happens in the packaged sections of the store, of like the dry grocery items, but I know for produce it happens a lot. So whenever you see those really great sales on a berry or a grape or something like that, just make sure you're thinking about the price per pound or the price per ounce. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you should grab that big pack. Sometimes you should buy just a couple of the smaller ones. Tip number 6 is buy this store brand when you can. So most stores, Walmart, Target, Safeway, Kroger, they're all gonna have their own line of items that is in their label, and their label sometimes is not like a clear, this is Kroger brand. It might not say Kroger, but it is their brand. So it gets a little bit tricky. But essentially the point here is when you're looking at all of your options on the table, on the shelf, there might be 5 different brands that look very similar, but the price points are all over the board, and generally the cheapest one is going to be the store brand. So it's going to be the item that the company, the Kroger or the Safeway, the Target, they packaged it up themselves and they put their label on it, but it's usually pretty much the same product as all of those other more expensive brands. So this really goes for almost every item in the store. You'd be surprised. Nowadays, you're seeing some fresh produce items that have the store brand that are cheaper than Dole or some of those bigger produce brands. So you'll see that a lot in the bag salads. If you buy the Kroger bag, it's cheaper than the Dole salad bag. It's always been a big thing for dry like grocery items. So if you're looking for pasta, rice, anything like that, there's generally always a really cheap consumer or store brand that you can grab that's essentially the same item. I'm even starting to see it now with really specific things. So I'm talking like kombucha, iced coffee, some of the things that you would think they probably don't have a store brand for this item. I'll just buy the Starbucks, or I'll buy whatever fancy label item that you normally buy. just look around, because I bet you around that section there is a cheaper version that's maybe an off label that you're not used to seeing, or it's not as popular. That's probably the store brand, and it's way cheaper, and it probably tastes very similar. There's a few situations that I've even found that I like the store brand way better than the typical brands. So one of those situations is tortilla chips, for example. For some reason, I really love the Kroger brand tortilla chips. I think they're crispier, they're saltier. I just love them. And they're like half the price most times of those bigger label tortilla chips. So I say buy the store brand when you can, because you don't always have that option. Sometimes they don't have a store brand, but also sometimes you're just not willing to sacrifice that taste or that flavor. So maybe you really like Skippy peanut butter, and you just know when it's not Skippy peanut butter. So when you can get away with it, when it makes sense, look for a store brand, because you're going to save a ton of money. And they have store brands of essentially every item in the store. It's getting really crazy nowadays. Tip number 7 is find the clearance or like reduced price section in all of the departments. They have them in almost all. So produce sometimes will have a reduced price section. It's usually going to be like bananas or things that people actually would use, even though they've gone kind of past when the typical person would want them, because you might put it in a banana bread or something like that. They have reduced price sections in the meat section. There's all kinds of little corners in the store, so definitely explore that and find in your store where those clearance sections are. I know my store always has a clearance section for baked goods, so like donuts and muffins and things like that. If you're willing to freeze something or use it that day or put it in a banana bread or something like that, you can save a ton of money. So to me, it's always worth just going past that section, just kind of checking it out, see what they have, and just kind of seeing if there's anything, and then maybe it will spark something like, oh hey, I could really use this and make this type of a lunch for my son, or whatever it is. I think it's just worth knowing where they are in your store and walking past them. And then also, if you know, I want to buy a muffin or I want to buy bananas for banana bread, you know they're generally in this part of the store and they usually have them on hand at a very reduced price. So just keep that in the back of your mind too. The very last tip I have for you, tip number 8, is a fun one. And my husband actually told me to put this on the list because he normally is like very tight on budgets and everything, but I think he realized that when you're really tight on your grocery budget and you're planning everything and you have this huge list and everything's to a T, sometimes you get home and you're like, I just want a snack. I just want something fun. I want like a little treat. And then that tends to make you go out and get a Starbucks or go out to ice cream or something like that. So one, you could plan in your list, you know, a few of your fun snack items that you like. Definitely do that. But it's always fun to have a couple splurge items. That's what I call them when you're going grocery shopping. So an item that you really don't necessarily need for anything. It's not like an essential snack or a breakfast or lunch item or anything like that. It's just a fun when we need a pick-me-up and we need to eat a treat or do something fun, like we're gonna have this little snack or ice cream or whatever it is. I think that's fun to do every once in a while, and it will help you not go out and spend a ton more money on going out to Baskin Robbins or Starbucks or something like that. So if it's a fancy iced coffee beverage that you buy at the grocery store that's half the price of a Starbucks, that could be something good to have on hand for those moments when you feel like you really need that. Or for me, buying a little thing of ice cream so that me and my husband can have something fun to eat once Dean goes to bed and we don't feel like we need to go out and get something or, you know, spend a lot more money on something else. So don't feel like you don't have the ability to do that. Definitely plan that in your budget and just pick out one or two little things. I mean, it could be something small, something simple, but having that at home already so that you don't have to go out and spend a ton more money actually saves you a lot of money even though you think you're splurging on something you don't necessarily need. So those are my tips for grocery shopping. Smart on a budget to save as much money as you can, but still have a good experience and have great fresh items for your family. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel and like this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.